No way. Hey, Will.
Yo, what's
Get
up?
over here. Look at this.
What am I looking at?
I'm in Facebook right now. Look at these numbers.
Dude, what did you do?
Dude, look at these numbers now in Instagram.
What? How?
Yeah. They've gone up in just a couple of weeks.
How?
By listening to Enid Jones. That's right. So if you are wanting to start a business in 2020 and you wanted to grow on social media, then you know where you need to start? You need to contact Enid Jones, the Social Mermaid. She's a photographer and social media strategist. She will help give you a strategy to move forward in 2020 with a practical, realistic approach or growth. For testimonials, reviews, and more, you need to go find her on Facebook or Instagram. We listened to her, and in just a couple of weeks, man, our numbers are up. So if you go to Instagram, you can find her by pix.by.enid. That's pix.by.enid. And if you go on Facebook, just search Enid Jones Photography. She's not that hard to find. Go and search her today. Hey, this is Rob T.
Hey, this Big Will.
The week is almost through,
And there's a lot we start through.
and we just want to share it with you. Some of it may be motivational,
Some inspirational.
but it will always be sensational. So sit back
And relax.
and check out what's on my mind. What's up, everybody?
Hey, what's happening, y'all?
We are back.
Yes.
2 weeks later, but y'all already know about all that if you watched the video last week. But
Better watch the video.
we are happy to be back. I'm Rob T.
I'm Big Will.
and
I'm Melissa.
you're listening to What's on My Mind. And we are very, very excited to be back in studio doing what we do best. How's everyone doing, baby? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you have a good day today?
Yeah, I did. It was a good day. It was productive.
I thought you were referring to me, Melissa. Come on.
The other honey.
I said baby.
The other baby.
How about you, Will? How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm second guess, I guess. No, I'm good.
Cool.
I had a very experiencing drive coming up here. I almost lost my life about 20 times, you know?
Because of
That's
your
all?
because of your young driver?
Because of my young driver, my 16-year-old driver who's chauffeuring me around today. I did this, that cross on my neck like 20
And you're not
times.
even Catholic.
I'm not even Catholic.
You were
But
taking.
did you die?
About like 3 times, you know what I'm saying?
You're like, I'm taking every precaution. I don't even care anymore. Is there a rosary under the seat? Splashing
holy water everywhere.
So, bathing that thing, just drinking it.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
For those of y'all who have a young driver, I don't have a young driver. I have a friend of mine driving with me today, and let's put this direction. Life-changing.
Just a little bit, right?
A bit life-changing. But it was fun, though.
That's good. That's good.
Fun. Because I would tell you one thing. I never heard somebody complain so much about not having a phone in their hand.
You didn't let them drive with their phone in their hand? How dare you?
No, see, I like to do as I say, not as I do. You know what I'm saying? I tell them, don't do this. And I'm texting and driving with my knee, eating a hamburger at the same time.
Eating a hamburger.
Oh man, that's funny. Anyway, so we are back, and we are very excited to be here today to do this show. Now, for those of y'all that have been listening, we're trying to keep a trend right now because, as we all know, 2020 was one hell of a year.
True.
And it was a year that knocked a lot of people on their butts, and some of them are still trying to get up, and some of them haven't recovered. So a lot of people lost their lives. I mean, there was just so much that happened in 2020 that I think it's safe to say that people would consider 2020 probably one of the worst years ever. You know,
It's all right.
So we're trying to keep. There we go again. We're trying to keep. We need sponsors, y'all. We need sponsors so we can get more money to buy more mics because this one I'm about to throw it out the window. I'm just saying.
I can change the mic if you need me to.
No. As soon as I said that, it goes out. What the heck, dude? Anyway, so what we're trying to do is we're just these episodes we've been doing, we're trying to keep it all about hope because we as Christians believe we have hope. We have our hope in Christ. And so I was thinking about it over the week and everything, and I had a really awesome weekend, Will. And Melissa, because you were here. Mm-hmm. But I had my cousin come all the way from Colorado, and she came down, and I hadn't seen her in 4 years. Came down, and it was a real unexpected trip. She was coming down to see her little sister who is in the hospital right now, and it was just an awesome experience. Our guest, who is here with us, who I'm going to introduce here in a few minutes, she came up as well because she's also my cousin, and this is her sister. This is actually her little sister, And man, I'm telling you, it was a awesome weekend. A lot of emotions, a lot of love, a lot of hugging, some anger, some hurt. It was just a roller coaster of emotions. But let me tell you, it was a weekend of healing, and it was just really, really an awesome experience. And I'm so glad it happened. But it definitely reminded me of hope. And being that my cousin, who's actually here in Texas, who is my other cousin from Colorado's sister, she's not too far from me and everything. I thought, you know what? I need to bring her on the show. Because if there was ever a story of hope, it's her story. And that's why I wanted to bring her on. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce to everyone listening out there, and don't be nervous. We have listeners all over the world. I know. Only, you know.
Only global.
All kinds of countries, Australia, Germany, but don't let that make you nervous in any way.
No, it's intimidating.
So anyway, but I want to introduce everyone. This is my cousin, Nicki Castro. Welcome, Nicki.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm very happy that you're here. And would you agree this weekend was awesome, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. Very much needed.
Yeah.
Brought so much healing.
A lot of healing and a lot. We definitely learned a lot too. That's for sure.
Yes.
And I tell you, this weekend for me anyway really reiterated in my life the importance of family. You know, and when I say family, I want to make it clear. Yes, I am talking about blood family because that's always important, of course. But guess what? Sometimes you have friends in your life that they become family.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I have friends in my life that I look at as brothers. Will is one of them.
Rob's one of mine.
Yeah. So, you know, family is important, and that's something that we definitely have to have. So this weekend was awesome. But the reason I brought you on, Nicki, is because your story is just so. I know I use this word a lot, but there's just no other way to say it. But it's an awesome story, and the crazy thing about it is that I know your story. You've shared a lot of it with me, but not only that, I've seen a lot of it with my own eyes because I've known you since you were how old?
Oh, my. Maybe diaper days.
Yeah. Wow. She used to. I think she was about 4 years old, and I used to take her to church. I used to carry her in my arms. Wow. Yeah. And can I say, I got to tell you this. So just real quick, I'm kind of sidetracking here, going off the rails, but I had to tell you this. So this weekend when we went out to lunch together, right here locally, right? I had a real surreal, just weird moment. A good weird moment, right?
Yeah.
But it was just weird. So you have a little girl who I'm talking about, Aaliyah,
Yes.
and she's like 5, right?
8.
Oh, 8, my bad. She's small though.
She's little.
Just like her mama.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I think you did see it, but did you see when she ran up to me and jumped in my arms? So she runs up to me, right? And she jumps in my arms, Will, and she grabs my neck basically and just shoves her head into my chest, right? That's exactly the way Nicki would run into my arms. So here I am.
Brought back a moment, huh?
Because at the same time she did that, I'm staring right at Nicki, who's right in front of me. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is weird. Because I had that same feeling that I had when I used to pick her up. Just that love, I want to protect you with my life. I don't want anybody to hurt you. That feeling I had holding Aaliyah.
Yeah.
And there was Nicki, the original one that I used to hold. It was just crazy. But anyway, so I've seen a lot of your story. You and I have had ups and downs in our relationship. I pissed you off many times, which I'm sure we'll get to. But you basically have been set free from addiction.
Oh, yes.
And and honestly, it wasn't a 12-step program, or it was the hope you found in Christ. So basically, your story is definitely, like I said, a story of hope, and that's kind of what I want to talk about. So I want to preface it first by saying that growing up for you wasn't easy. Nope. When I first met you, I think you were about 4 years old, and beautiful little girl. And then, of course, as you got into your older years and your teenage years, I didn't really see you at all at that point. But that was when you had a lot of traumatic events happen in your life. Now, in this podcast, we're not going to get into that. But I think it's safe to say that that's kind of what started you down the road of getting into addiction, right? Before you go into that, though, I want to make it clear because you hear it all the time, you know, and I've had friends, I've had family. Oh, my dad was an alcoholic, so now I'm an alcoholic, or, you know, and they say it's hereditary. You know, you hear it said about family curses and things like that, and I think that's definitely safe to say about our family. Your mother was she was an addict, right? I know she was an alcoholic. I think, right?
That I can recall, I believe she was just an alcoholic.
An alcoholic, right? Which is still an addiction.
Yes.
And her mother, of course, was my aunt, and she died at a pretty young age. She was
23.
23 years old when she died.
And it was the weekend of her 23rd birthday.
Yeah. And she tragically died because of a drunk driver, which is a whole other story. But that's just kind of part of, you know, when things kind of, yeah, exactly, where it kind of started going downhill. So let me ask you, well, I'll start off asking you this question. How old were you when you first did, you know, the first drug? I don't even want to say alcohol, because as a Mexican kid, man, you get your first sip of alcohol when you're like 6 sometimes.
6?
I know I did.
I was like, 2 years old?
It starts when we tease.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. When you start teething.
Teething, so I was grabbing the guns. Hey, yo, I did that to all 3 of my kids.
Oh man, so that's true. But let's not. I know it probably started with alcohol, but when was the first time you actually, like, how old were you when you first did drugs?
Like, quick timeline that I always like keep in my head.
Go for it.
In 10 years old, lying. Sorry, let me start over. 9 years old, got caught with cigarettes. 10 years old, started smoking weed. 13 years old, I was pretty much already an alcoholic.
Wow.
Going to bed, drinking, waking up, drinking. I had school. I didn't care. I was
13?
drunk.
Isn't that just a year younger? Well, that's how old your daughter is, right?
My daughter is exactly 13 years old today.
I'm just trying to put that into perspective right now.
And it scares
My
the
daughter
heck
just
out of me.
My daughter just turned 13 on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
I am
Dang.
petrified right
Yes. Yeah.
So at 13, you were already an alcoholic. Wow.
Yes. And that's when...
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I was just curious. Like, was somebody giving it to you, or is it just something that you kind of found on your own? Or?
I guess I kind of... With, living with my grandma, who is also an alcoholic time to time, I kind of was sneaking everything except the weed, of course. I did that with my friends. But the cigarettes and alcohol, I would sneak it from my grandma. And then it got to the point where I started going to friends' houses or her friends' houses.
Right.
And I'm there, just young. And, of course, they're drinking, so... Their friends being very lenient, they let me drink.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So 13, full blown alcoholic, and then what?
I would say, of course, that was a quick teen phase until, of course, just throughout life, a lot of anger being built up. 13, I got introduced to ecstasy.
Wow.
And that was my first hard drug.
Right.
And honestly, that's my drug of choice.
Wow. Crazy. So this is actually just my curiosity. What drugs have you done?
I have, obviously...
Hold on, let me prep myself because I'm probably going to freak out. I'm going to freak out when you start telling me your age.
Put the belt away.
But that's how it is, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
especially with the
yeah.
young ones, the ones who, get into drugs that, they're hiding it.
Yeah,
I mean, you look
true.
back at it just like, oh my God, I didn't know. Well,
Yeah, a lot of
they
people
know how to hide it.
Yeah.
thought I was just out looking for, seeking trouble,
Right,
all
right.
this stuff. But little did they know the attitude I was carrying, it wasn't because I was bitter and all this stuff. No, I was on something.
Yeah.
And wasn't acting myself.
Right.
A lot of stuff a lot of my friends try and mention, I honestly don't remember.
Wow. Wow. So you were under the influence a lot, basically.
Yes.
All right. So what were the drugs that you've done besides ecstasy?
I battled with my addiction, I should say, for a good 10 years. And throughout those 10 years, I had started with the ecstasy. And then when I was about 19, I started getting onto the coke. Of course, weed is in between all this. Of course, when I got to the coke, it just started intensing after that. You know, after divorces, just life happening. And eventually it started bumping up to ice. And I've also done acid. Other than that, a lot of narcotics I have gotten a hold of.
Yeah. Pain meds and stuff like that, right? Yeah.
But hard drugs, I would say methamphetamines and, acid and stuff like that.
Yeah. Wow. That's quite a list. Wow. So looking back on all that, I mean, you know, knowing your history, it's safe to say, developing the anger that you had and things like that, you had a reason for that. You know, like there was definitely reason for you to feel that the way you feel, right?
Oh, yes.
So the reason I say that is because I'm sure there's plenty of people out there, maybe even some that are listening right now, that, you know, well, I'm entitled to a little drink, or I'm entitled to a little bit of this. You know, you don't know my life. You don't know the things that I've gone through. You don't know this. You don't know that. And I guess my question is it safe to say that using you as the example, just looking for a way to ease the pain, maybe?
Yes, that's all it was. I was looking for that numbness because I wasn't understanding the same things as my family would. So I was confused. I was thinking nobody cared. Nobody's listening to me. So of course I grew up watching my family self-medicate themselves. I figured I'd do the same thing.
Right.
It just escalated throughout the years.
Right. And I mean, it's your environment. You know, a lot of times parents will say, you know, well, if you're gonna hang around with the wrong crowd, this is how you're gonna end up. Yeah, but how much more difficult is it when the wrong crowd is your own family?
Exactly. Yes.
You know what I mean? Because I know, you know, and I'm saying this, and just in case, even though I doubt it, but just in case any of our family is listening, we ain't trying to throw anybody under the bus. It's the truth.
Yes.
It's the truth. Our grandmother was an alcoholic.
Yes.
You know, I am a witness to that. You know, my own father. As long as I've known him, you know, and my biological father, he's had his drink, he's had his smoke, and then some. You know, so it definitely runs in our family, and I think it's safe to say that substance abuse, be it alcoholism, excuse me. Be it alcoholism, drug abuse, whatever the case may be, that substance abuse, it's definitely to mask some pain. Just kind of putting it out there to the room. Has anybody else, besides our guest here, had issue with that? Will, I know you've had issue with that.
Oh yeah, I had issue with that.
Yours was alcohol.
Right. I was younger, heavier on narcotics. More now, or more recently, was just more alcoholism and smoked a lot of weed.
Yeah. Every time I hear weed, though, I keep hearing that I'm sorry, Bob Saget pops up in my voice. Weed's not a drug. I'm sorry. It's just that's what I keep thinking about. Is weed's not a drug. Coke's a drug. Sorry.
That's so funny.
I ain't gonna quote the rest of that movie.
But it's so quotable.
What about you, Melissa?
If I've had issue with I've had my ups and downs, like with alcohol. You already know I smoked a lot of weed back in the day.
Right.
Never did the hard stuff. I mean, the worst I ever did, I think, was ecstasy. And then
you did ecstasy?
I told you that.
I'm sorry. We've been together a long time. Maybe I forgot.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've told
something that comes up in conversation every night. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Remember that time we did X together?
That's true.
But I mean, and pills here and there. You know?
Yeah, pills. And see, the pills. That's the tough one.
Yeah.
Because they're so accessible. I got addicted to painkillers.
Oh, so did I.
Yeah, I was addicted to I already forgot the name of it.
Hydrocodone.
Thank you. There it is.
Vicodin?
Yeah, Vicodin.
I can keep going for you.
Yeah. No, that's good. When I knew I had a problem, though, like I should have known before this. It's funny. It sounds like what you were saying. I should have known I had a problem before this, but this is when I knew I had a problem. I had an injury on my knee years ago when I first got married, and they had prescribed me. What was the name of that drug, hon?
Percocet.
Percocets.
I was just about to say that, but I just
They prescribed me Percocets.
a high volume of it.
And they told me one little pill was going to be enough. I took 2.
Okay.
Never fails.
I
Never
took
fails.
2, and that knocked my big butt down. You know, but that's when I started seeing that I had an issue because they had given me Vicodin before, and I was still up all night in pain, crying, literally crying, because it hurt so bad. So, excuse me, the Vicodin that they gave me wasn't doing anything.
Okay.
But then I did start to notice that I'm not really taking these so much for the pain anymore. You know what I mean? So I kicked the habit. I'm not gonna say I went through any kind of hardcore withdrawals like somebody that's been in your shoes or anything like that. But I did have. I was still home because I couldn't work because of my injury. And so I refused to take anything. So I kept myself from taking anything at all. So during the day, I was like shaking and sweating, and I was trying my best to hide it whenever Melissa came home from work. I don't think I did a good job. I think she still saw it, but I finally did kick it. So much so that the funny story happened when we were in Victoria one time, and I had a headache, and I used to take about 4, sometimes 5 Advil just for a headache.
Okay.
Right? And so I had a headache, and I went ahead and just took 4 Advil like I used to. I got sick.
Oh, wow.
Because I had already kind of detoxed from that whole thing, so my body wasn't used to it anymore.
Yeah.
That was stupid. So anyway, but so you said you basically fought your addiction. You were like addicted for 10 years,
Yes.
right?
Off and on.
When you first started to get clean, was God even in the picture, or were you trying to do it more like the way everybody else does it with rehab and things like that?
No, I just pretty much did it like I did it every other time. I've relapsed maybe 4 or 5 times, and each time I was able to reach up to 2 years, almost close to, not even a year sometimes, but I would relapse, and I would attend my meetings, I would, but yet, though I wasn't, I guess you could say, walking with Christ at that time.
Right.
So I remember going through my detox and my withdrawals at home. And that was very painful. Very painful. Something that is always going to stay with me to remind myself not to go back to that. 'Cause,
Right.
And the very last time I used too, I knew I was messing up, and I had asked God, next time I use, Lord, make me sick to where I can't take it no more.
Right.
I'm praying that's just not my last time,
Right.
And I remember that very last time was an ugly recovery, it was an ugly recovery, ugly withdrawals, ugly just everything, but still did it.
My dog just showed up out of nowhere.
Jumped up, give you a kiss.
Yeah. So I have to ask, before we go down that road about, when God came into the picture, you said you relapsed. So I'm just curious, what was it that caused you to relapse? Because I'm just going to take a shot in the dark here, but when you decided I'm going to get clean, I'm sure you meant it.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like, I don't want to live like this no more. I'm going to get clean. I got to do this. And I say that because I'm sure there are other people out there that have dealt with that too. Like, I mean it. I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to do it.
Yes.
So what was it that made you relapse?
Just life in general. I was a military wife, so we did a lot of traveling and, a lot of time separated, and we weren't spending quality time as much, so there was a lot of cheating and so forth, and not only on his behalf, on my behalf as well.
Right.
There was a time where I guess I can say my grandma passing away. I was sober at that time and relapsed. Just, divorces. I remember both times. Anytime I ran into a rough patch in life, the drug was my comforter, my, everything.
Right.
I wouldn't run to help physically. No, I would run to the drug.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, that was it's
because of course you're not feeling
right. But what I was gonna say is as weird as this sounds, and as kind of off as this sounds, it's like the drug is the only thing that's been there for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. The
So-
drug wasn't talking back to me,
Right.
judging me.
Right. Right.
It making me feel really good.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And I get that. I definitely get that. I will say this. So, I've seen you since Christ has come into your life and really made the change. And I remember how excited I was when I first really got to see it firsthand. Remember when we had lunch together?
Yes.
Yeah, that was when I really got to see it firsthand. Melissa will tell you too. I came home that day and I was like, "Man, Nicki has changed. She's different."
It was.
Yeah, I was really excited about that. But I got to tell you, I remember years ago hearing the stories about you and about you being addicted and things like that, and there were little bursts of time, throughout those years where I'd see you here and there, and I'd try to say something, because to be honest, I'd still see little Nicki that I used to pick up and I used to carry. So there's always been this like real special bond I've had with you. So when I saw it for myself, because I could tell,
Oh yeah.
it hurt. It hurt bad, and so it's like I don't want to push her away, but I feel like I have to say something. And I remember I would, and you were not happy.
Yeah.
Usually that's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll give you credit though. You never really said anything to my face or anything like that. But I remember I heard that I know of. Yeah. There was like I think maybe a couple of times where she just kind of rolled her eyes and just like walked away. But
yes,
she never.
that was my thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to you, but yet give you that look, like,
And then,
whatever, and walk away.
Yeah, and that's what she did. But she never like said anything to me. But that day when we had lunch and I got to hear you, and oh my God, I say this in a good way, but this is I just want to describe it to people so they know what I'm talking about. This is all saying this in a good way. You just would not shut up. But that's what I'm saying. It was like that level of, man, God changed me. God, and I was just so ecstatic. And like I said, Melissa's my witness. I came home and I was like, man, Nicki's changed. She's different. God's done something. I saw her eyes, and that's really what got me, is I saw her eyes, and she's not the same. She's a completely different person. And I knew that God had done something. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Yes.
So now that you've been sober now for how long?
I want to say it has been. This past October, it reached 3 years sober off of narcotics, and January 5th was my 4th year off of methamphetamines.
Wow, that's awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So now that you've been on your walk with God this long, and you've been set free this long, looking back on it, I mean, what really stands out to you about that? Just anything at all. Just share with us.
Just handling everything without rehab. When I finally was battling with my drug addiction, realizing I couldn't do it by myself, I gave up. I was a walking zombie here on earth. Like, I couldn't feel, I couldn't think. Yes, I was still doing my job as a mother and spouse, but I just wasn't myself. I can say, sorry, I had a loss of thought.
That's okay. You've done a lot of drugs. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a good one, though.
Just kidding.
No, but yeah, so I finally kind of begged, God for guidance because I had no other clue how to beat this. Every time I would relapse, and I was doing anything and everything possible to keep me clean, and it just wasn't happening. But that's when I finally, really, I've always known who God is, but really made that relationship connection with God. And I didn't have that before. And ever since I had did that, I mean, he's showed me over and over how he's there.
Right.
He's, and I used to be very negative. I used to, but even through the negativity, as hard as it is, I kind of don't ponder on it anymore. I'm just like, here, God, take it, because I don't have time to worry.
Right.
Right. It makes it so much easier.
Right. And to me, what even makes this story of yours even more great is because, like, when you're going through battling an addiction, right, and you're trying to stay clean and stuff like that, one of the big things that's supposed to help you, that you should have, is a strong support system, right? A strong support. And the problem here is who do you have?
Yeah.
And I know it sounds terrible, but I'm telling you guys, I know our family, and I love them to death, but there is not a very strong support system in our family, unfortunately. So to me, that makes it even more of a miracle on how God's got you.
Yes.
And how God has been faithful to you, and you've called me and told me about the awesome miracles and stuff, the way God has blessed you, which has been amazing, and how he continues to bless you, So, I mean, to me, that's one of the things that really stands out about your story, because it's tough when you don't have anybody that you can really rely on. You know what I mean? Like me, I have my wife that I know I can rely on if I'm going through something, right? I mean, she's my rock when she needs to be, and vice versa, and but it's like, at the time when you were going through the stuff you were going through, you didn't have anybody at all, just your kids. And I mean, your kids can kind of give you strength to a certain extent, but they're kids.
Yeah, they were babies at the time.
Yeah. So, I mean, that to me is just incredible, and proof that God is alive and well, and he's still in the miracle making business.
Amen.
And the thing that I will always say, and to those of y'all listening out there, maybe there's somebody out there listening right now that you're dealing with your own addictions. Maybe you're dealing with drug addiction, and you hear it all the time, how when you're an addict, you're always an addict, right?
I've been taught that my whole life.
Yeah, you're an addict. That's just who you are, and just basically you live the rest of your life managing your addiction. But see, I serve a God who says that the Word of God says when you accept Christ as your Savior, he makes you a new creation.
Amen. Yeah.
Which means you're not an addict anymore. You're a new creation in Christ. So for those of y'all listening out there, I'm telling you, you don't have to live your life that way as an addict. You can be set free from your addictions. And right here today, we have that living proof giving her story. We're going to take a short little break here. And then what I want to do is I kind of want to talk a little bit about your sister.
Okay.
Because that is an amazing story.
Yes.
And it's just, it's one of those stories. When I first heard the story, I'm just like, this is something you would see like on Dr. Phil or something. But it's an awesome story, and actually this story kind of does touch a little bit on your addiction, because when you guys first actually met, you were at the lowest of lows.
Oh yeah.
But I want to talk about that a little bit more right after we take this commercial break.
There was a time when a man could walk into a barbershop, sit back and relax and escape the cares of the day, while a skilled craftsman turned his look from mountain man to classy gentleman. Well, neighbor, that time is now at Hanley's Good Time and Barbershop. At Hanley's, they specialize in men's haircuts, including beard trims and classic straight razor shaves. They won't forget that hot towel either. You can schedule an appointment on their website at hanleysbarbershop.com. That's HANLEYS barbershop.com. Located in San Marcos, Texas at 322 West Hopkins between Selleck's and Gumby's Pizza, right in the old Thomas house. When you get there, talk to old Dal and let him know the boys at What's On My Mind podcast sent you, and you'll get a complimentary cold one or shot of whiskey. Hanley's Good Time and Barbershop, where good times meet good vibes.
Brake shoes, brake pads, drums, rollers, brake fluid, brake clean, brake hardware, a flush, and a shop fee. I wish there was a place I could take my car to that didn't cost me an arm and a leg.
Well, now there is. Welcome to GA Automotive and Tire, where you can get a brake job for only $199 on most vehicles. That's a complete brake job with brake pads and rotors resurfaced. Located at 4431 Luxinger Lane, Austin, Texas, 78745. For service and prices so good that you'd recommend your family, simply call GA Automotive and Tire. Just dial 512-444-7005. That's 512-444-7005. GA Automotive and Tire. You know, starting a business can be very challenging. Man, starting anything can be challenging, even a podcast. When we started our podcast, we had a lot of hurdles we had to go through. But I tell you what, Will and I are so thankful to have an awesome team of people helping us along the way. And one of those people, well, actually one of part of the team, is Blue Orchid Design Company. They helped us out with an awesome logo, and you guys have seen it every week when you listen to our podcast. They do web design, graphic design, esports logos, business logo creation, product mock-ups, and business consultation. You got to contact them today. For more information, go to goorchid.com. You can also find them on Facebook at facebook.com/Blue Orchid Design Company. This is the team that Big Will and Rob T trust. Give them a call today. And we are back. Before we get started, as you all know, want to give a big shout out to our sponsor for this segment. That's Silver Spoon Dinner Theater, located at 6700 North Interstate 35, New Braunfels, Texas, 78130. When you're going north to San Antonio, you'll see them on your left-hand side. They're at the Texas Ski Ranch right upstairs. Best place to go in town for gourmet meal, great entertainment. You're going to love it. Just go and check it out. Trust us. Let them know that your boys and your girl here at What's On My Mind podcast sent you, okay? Just let them know and they will hook you up. That's Silver Spoon Dinner Theater. For more information, go to the website, www.silverspoon.com. That's SYLVER spoon.com. Also, you can give them a call at 210-865-3711. That's Silver Spoon Dinner Theater. You made me really loud.
Sorry.
You're good, man. You're good. So we're sitting here talking with my beautiful cousin Nikki, and this is, first of all, I want to say this is a really.
What are we? Lambs came over here, son? Beautiful at all?
Will you let me finish what I want to say?
You just say we're talking about my beautiful cousin Nikki.
Yeah.
And that was it. You just kind of paused right there.
Well, she's the guest. Anyway, I was just gonna say that I'm really happy to be doing this interview because. What can I say? I love you dearly, and I know you have an awesome testimony, and that's why I wanted to get it out there. Yeah. But of course, I'm also here with my co-hosts, my beautiful wife Melissa, and my friend Will.
Beautiful friend Will.
Beautiful friend Will.
Remember this guy.
My dapper handsome friend. Whatever. I did say you had beautiful eyes earlier, though.
Joe did come by surprise.
Oh, yes, I remember.
I just felt so embarrassed because I was closing my eyes. I was like, I'm not making eye contact.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
The light was just right.
Yes, it was. It just shined
Just
right
felt
there.
gently upon his face as it brought a glow in his visage.
And I sure didn't know how to make a fella blush.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're making him turn red.
Hey, that wasn't me, bro.
That's funny.
You're the one that
That's
was
right.
like
That's
stopping
right.
in the middle of the conversation. You have pretty eyes.
I did not say he had pretty eyes.
Dang, right? Stop everything.
I just said, I never noticed he had light brown eyes. They're nice. That's what I said.
I mean, pretty
Sure,
much the same.
same thing, right? Potato.
Oh, man, can't take compliments, I swear.
You
Anyway.
can't. Not for another guy. Not about looks.
Anyway, so since talking to you guys, I gotta ask you. What are your thoughts on the story that you've heard so far?
I actually want to know, Nikki. We've talked about how you came to Christ, and He was the one that helped you with your recovery. Was there a moment that because like you said too, everybody says, "Oh no, this is it. This is the time." But was there a moment that was like, "Okay, I got to do it," and I've got to stick to it?
Yeah, it was, I don't know. And I had to go through a bunch of obstacles to finally open my eyes. I had CPS rip my family apart. I still didn't knock any sense to me. Lost marriages. It still wouldn't, until finally I was literally dead inside my soul. Mentally, I was dead. Spiritually, I was dead. I could try, and no matter what, nothing was working. Until finally, and I remember I was using this time, I was gone on some narcotics, and I was stuck, or I was sick of chasing my next fix. And I was so frustrated because, I have a family to support, and of course that's going to happen before my addiction. And because I'm taking care of my family, I couldn't afford my fix.
Yeah.
So I remember having this breakdown, and that's when I remember throwing my hands up, asking God, please help me, because right now all I know is I want the drug, and I'm still kind of under the influence, but right there is when it happened. Like, I literally, with my hands up, my hands all of a sudden got really hot and sweaty. And I'm, asking for forgiveness, apologizing for everything. And it was just a Holy Spirit moment that's unexplainable. And that's how I knew that was God, and this is the road that I need to be on.
That was like your moment, like
Yes.
the aha moment, basically.
Yes, pretty much. Like, you know how they say God's always outside of the door knocking, waiting for you to let him in. That was the day I opened the door.
Oh,
and
wow.
he came in. And
Yeah,
I
that's awesome.
literally felt it physically.
And it was at that moment of like your most broken, basically. Because
Oh,
like you
yes.
said, yeah, I mean, you've been broken already. I mean, your family, everything, but that was like shatter.
Yes.
Like almost nothing left. Wow.
Yes, because all I did was pretty much just learn how to cover up the addiction really well. And that led me to live a double life.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny about I used to deal with addiction and the cover up.
Yes.
It's funny because you say it's a double life. It literally is a double life.
Yes.
What ways did you? How did you cover yours up?
I was a mom and wife, 8 to 5 every day, and I would say 10 p.m. to 5 in the morning. I was out at the bars, drug dealing, partying, doing whatever. And then any job that I had, either it be fast food, retail, whatever, I was always choosing graveyards.
Oh, wow.
But yet, that was also my cover-up because I'm on methamphetamines. That keeps you up all night. So, of course, going days and days, trying to support my kids as a single mom, I kind of depended on that to help me stay up and work. Because
Wow.
I was forcing myself to work at least 80 hours a week.
So you're burning the candle at both ends. You're being a
Yes.
mother, but then you're also choosing to not get any rest whatsoever, which being a
Yes.
single mother's got to be hard enough.
Oh, yes. And then the double life part comes in because my spouses, I had been married twice, none of them had a clue And I'm married. I'm living with these people, and they even didn't know.
Right.
Wow.
My family didn't have a clue. My friends didn't have a clue because I wasn't that influencer. Like, hey, try this stuff out. It's really good. No, I kept it always secret because I was ashamed. I was using to cover up my feelings, my pain. You know.
So why were you ashamed? Because most people who use, they don't get ashamed of what they do. They get ashamed of the way they got to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I remember when I was drinking, doing a thing, I was never ashamed of drinking. I was having a great time.
Yeah.
But after I finished, I was like, oh my god, I just blew $400 at the bar. You know,
Yes.
I always be that come down. It was when I would feel that.
Yes. And I think that's when it would eat me up the most, was during the come downs, and it was a lot of up and downs, and of course, like you said, when you're coming down, that's when it would eat me up, like, because I start thinking of my kids, my family, and, you know, at the time, too, I've had multiple cases where I'm fighting also for my freedom. So that, too, you know, is on top of it. So it was just a whole mixture of things.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, and I was just ashamed just because of, I guess everybody knows better, and I just kept choosing to do something wrong, you know, knowing where it leads, seeing my family. But it's also helped me to, as a mother now of 3, that's something I kind of ponder in their head is, because I grew up, as Rob was saying earlier, my mom was an alcoholic, my grandma was an alcoholic, I have uncles, everybody, they're drug and addicts, you know, alcoholics, they're pornography, whatever it is. It's whatever, shopping, whatever. During that time, you know, it's kind of, how can I say, I tell them, I grew up always thinking, because I was always told I'm going to be like my mom. You're just like your mom. If I had attitude, anything, if I did something to get into trouble.
Like your mother.
Yeah, they always told me you're going to be like your mom.
I was told the same thing with my dad.
So, of course, being told that growing up, you start believing it. And you start going after those same exact actions that you saw them do. You know? And that's exactly how it was. And so with my kids now, I quote to them and I tell them, don't be, how do I say it? I guess me saying it to them, I tell them that I want to be their example and not their excuse.
Oh,
That's
wow.
deep.
That's really
That's
good.
deep.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I tell my kids. I always tell them, your job is to be better than I am.
Amen. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and the only way to get that is to be a better version of yourself tomorrow than you are today. I tell them every single morning when they wake up. That's what I tell them right before we get them to school. Today, you're better today than you were yesterday. And even if it's just something as you learn something different today, even if it's you take a step in a different direction, you become better with improvement. But also, not all improvement is great because it creates a different mindset. And I was on that the hard way because since unfortunately is what they call people like us, we have an addictive personality. So we get addicted to things quickly.
Yes.
So unfortunately, when they become addicted to things, that drive becomes addicting as well.
Oh, yes.
And that's what creates the influences into narcotics and alcoholism and everything like that.
Oh, yes. And even, I'll be honest, I mean, I was very addicted to just, I guess I don't know what it was, like the adrenaline, I don't know what it was, but, you know, physical abuse, like it was weird. I would try and get out of it, but something always brought me right back. You know, it was kind of like a drug.
Well, you were comfortable with it.
Yes, I was thinking that's the way you hold a man down. You know, like let him smack you if you what, you know.
Yeah. As crazy as it sounds, as crazy as it sounds, your pain becomes almost like your security blanket. You know, and that's just that mindset you get as someone who's been abused or you know, that's been a victim. So yeah, it's crazy. I'm curious, you have a daughter that's 13 years old. Has she has she already asked you about? I mean, I know she's kind of seen a lot of your life, but has she actually asked you about it?
No. I mean, when my addiction came out to public, my kids were pretty little. My oldest was 4 years old, and my son, I want to say, was like maybe 2.5, 3, and my baby was 7 months old. So the two oldest ones are the ones who remember almost everything.
Right.
And I remember the day of, CPS coming and telling the family, hey, we got to take these kids from her because of this. I was very honest and open with my kids, even as babies. I let them know right away, Mommy messed up. I have a problem, but I'm going to fix it. I'll be back.
Right.
And now as they grow up, they've seen me speak for multiple things, churches, events, just multiple things where they've seen me speak, and they hear my story. And my oldest will tell me that, I encourage her to want to travel and speak and help others and
That's great.
stuff like that, because she's has a testimony of her own as well.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. That's great. So we were talking earlier about your sister.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to talk about that a little bit because that's a very interesting story and very heartwarming story. It's a beautiful story for sure. So you're like we said earlier, your mom passed away when she was very young. She was 23.
Wow.
She was 23 years old, and she was
That stitches me up.
and she was pregnant when she was
I
killed.
believe 6 months.
Yeah. She was pregnant.
Okay, younger sister, older sister.
She was the
younger, right?
the baby.
Yeah.
Yes, right? Because you came first.
And then Alyssa, then...
Yeah.
Then did she have a name? Did they name her?
No, they didn't.
Yeah. You said, I remember you saying at the cemetery that they buried the baby with her.
Yes, at
Yeah.
her feet.
Yeah.
That's what I've been told.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't see that part before we were talking about this.
yeah, it's crazy. That's all I can say. It's kind of crazy because I did get to meet her. I think my aunt at the time, because the story for another day, but I'll just say real quickly, I didn't grow up with the Trevino side of my family, which is
Right, I
how
remember that. You said that before.
Nikki and I are related. Nikki's my first cousin because her mom was my aunt, and I met her when I was probably about, I want to say I was maybe 11 or 12. That's when I met her. And first I was very standoffish because being raised by my mom, I heard things about my dad, and so guilty by association in the sense that if my dad's bad, that must mean my family's bad, kind of thing. So I was standoffish at first, but I told Nikki and her sister that the memories I have of my aunt was she loved me because she saw me right away and just hugged me and was telling me how happy she was to see me, and so it's a very happy memory. But before she passed away, she had your sister.
Yes.
How long after she had your sister did she pass?
My sister was 2.
So
when
2 years.
She passed. I was 3.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay, so your sister, you're born, of course, and you're with your mom, and your mom passes, and you're raised by grandma and our tia and other stuff like that. But Alyssa was adopted.
yes, right from the hospital.
Right. She was adopted, and it was by a white family, which is still funny to me, and lived an entirely separate life from you. And you were sharing with us before the show that you did find out about her when you were younger.
Yes, I believe I was like around 6 or 7.
Right. And for whatever reason, you were told that she was basically a vegetable.
Yes.
Brain dead.
Yes.
Right. So take us through the story. Take us through, because then you find out later. And
Yes.
So take it from there.
When I found out, they had made it very clear at 17 when I asked again if I could try and look for her, that she was a vegetable, and if I was ready for that responsibility to take care of pretty much, a baby. And at this time, I'm not a mother. It was going to be a kid taking care of a kid, pretty much. They were making it seem like. That was when I was 17. 6 years ago, I'm 32, so what's that, 20?
Ask Melissa, she's better at math.
Oh, don't make me math right now. Let me see.
Nighttime, God dang it.
26.
Okay, 26. I'm, recited hours away from the family because I'm going through personal issues.
This was at the lowest point, right?
Yes, I was going through my second divorce and, fighting 2 cases with the state and just haywire, And I remember at 26, I went to a meeting. It's called Celebrate Recovery. And I got home, and it's always 10 o'clock at night when I get home. And I received a call. And they had information that someone was looking for me. And when they told me, they were saying, Alyssa's calling and looking for you. And I had no clue who the heck Alyssa was.
That's right. She had a different name, you said. Yeah.
So when I told my aunt, okay, go ahead and have this Alyssa call me, whatever, let's see what you're saying is true.
Real quick, time out, because Will's confused.
No, I'm good.
She had a different name because your mom...
Her birth mom had named her Nancy Nicole. And her adoption family changed her name.
Right, that usually happens in adoption.
Yeah, so that was why.
Yeah.
So all this time she knew her as Nancy Nicole.
Yeah, the whole time I'm looking for her when internet, first came out, and when I'm 17, I'm looking for Nancy Nicole. So that's another reason why I couldn't find her.
Right. So you tell Alyssa to call you.
So I tell Alyssa to call me. She calls me, and of course, at this time, I'm just like, hello. And she was just like, Naomi? And I said, yes, ma'am. I said, may I ask who's speaking? And she said, Alyssa. And I'm not going to lie, I was like, who the heck is Alyssa? Like, it's 10 o'clock at night.
No, she didn't. She didn't.
You ain't calling.
But you call me this late at night?
Right. But no, she got me because out of nowhere, I heard Nancy. Once I heard her say Nancy, I dropped. I broke. I just cried. And next thing you know, they're both crying all night on the phone.
Wow.
Wow. And I told her straight up, like, those were the first words that came out of my mouth was, you can talk. You're fine. I was told it's totally different.
Right.
Like, and I apologize because, of course, I don't want my sister to think I didn't care, along with the rest. Mm-hmm. No, I literally tried to look, but, of course, I had the wrong name.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, and then amazingly, she said she had given up a few years, and I had given up a few years, and just out of nowhere, something told her to push in aunt's name and uncle's name and my name, and our grandma's obituary popped up. Mm-hmm. And so she happened to call the funeral home, and they exchanged information, and that's how they were able to get a hold of the family and say this person's looking for her sister. Yeah. And it just went from there.
Yeah, and the family itself, like okay, so I know grandma knew, mm-hmm. right? I'm assuming our aunt knew, right? But nobody else knew, because when I got the call, mm-hmm. it was my dad, and he didn't know.
Oh wow.
Because I remember distinctly him telling me that I didn't know we had, and he was excited and everything, and so I was under the assumption that nobody knew.
Yeah.
This is before I had heard all the other mm-hmm. details. So I'm just like, man, this is some Dr. Phil stuff right here, because like nobody knew, and then all of a sudden she pops up, and like you said, and she told us a story too, how. Because I asked her, how long had you been looking? She said, my whole life.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
It was at least 25 years before we reunited in person.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so,
you guys talked all night,
Yes.
right? And is that how you ended up going to her wedding? Is that?
Yes, we were just back and forth on any type of social media app you can think of.
Yeah.
Trying to stay in touch. And one day, that's when she just said, my wedding's coming up. And I was like, really? Oh my gosh. Well, you know, I'm poor Mexican. I'm just kidding. No. As a gift, her parents bought my ticket and allowed me to go up there.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And I saw the video because y'all put it up on Facebook. I thought I was watching the movie, man.
Yeah.
And it was so cool how it happened because I get off the plane. I'm like very scared of heights. And I told my sister, I don't know if I got trauma from like Michael Jackson or, you know, La Bamba or something, but I'm scared to fly. And my sister was like, it's no biggie, you're going to be fine. And I said, no, sister, you don't understand. Like, I'm literally terrified to fly. So she's like, you got to do it. Of course, I'm going to want to meet my sister. That's the only way that's going to happen. So
Right.
I toughen up, get on the airplane. You know, I do all these transfers, and she's keeping on the phone with me to make sure I'm not getting lost or nothing. And next thing you know, I get to the airport, and my luggage is missing.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, my God, my sister, like, I haven't even met her yet, and I'm about to get ghetto. You know? My luggage is gone. But no, I believe, I don't know, I haven't really honestly asked her, but it was maybe God. He had it all planned out, but it just happened right when she was bringing my luggage. My sister was coming up behind me, like maybe she was trying to keep me from seeing.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Because everybody was with cameras, and I just see my sister running. And of course, I told her, I'm going to just run to you and tackle you. But again, the story that I believed my whole childhood, and actually seeing this healthy, beautiful mirror image running at me
Yeah.
was heartbreaking. I see her running at me, and my knees were giving out. Like,
Wow.
she literally was having to pick me up and was like, you said you were going to run to me. And I was like, I'm sorry, but you're beautiful. Like you're actually here. Like, it was just a moment that's very unexplainable and very, you know, I'm going to remember it forever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it was
And
awesome.
we were loud at that airport. We were crying like somebody just passed.
Yeah.
Was it an ugly cry? We all, you know, faces
Oh,
all.
yeah.
I saw the video. Yeah. It was something else.
That's real.
Yeah, man.
You can't,
Yeah.
you can't duplicate that.
Oh,
you know,
no.
that is, and that's a once in a lifetime thing. you
Oh,
know?
yes. So this past weekend, I did tell her, I'm going to tackle you. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, you did. Right there on my recliner, man. I wish I would have got video of that.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, during your time over there with your sister, I mean, I'm like, man, you guys had so much to catch up on. Were you nervous? I mean,
Oh, yes. I was very nervous. I didn't know what to expect, honestly. But I will remember I was very impatient to meet her family. I remember right away, the first chance that I got, we had dinner over the table.
Right.
And right there, I was like, this is a chance. I thanked them.
oh wow, that's awesome.
I thanked them for taking care of my sister. And
Yeah.
I told them, you know, if you know, God allowed it to happen any other way, for sure, my past would be more horrible than what it already
Yeah,
is.
yeah. You know, but this is kind of bringing it back to what we said this whole thing was going to be about, hope. You know what I mean? That's kind of the centerpiece of this whole thing, because even in the midst of all the pain that you've gone through and everything else, that hope in Christ, I mean,
opens that door, and
yes.
and now you have this relationship with your sister, and man, you guys were like twins. It was a trip seeing you two together. It really was, because we went to see her in Washington when she lived in Washington, and that was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was me and Melissa. You know, you weren't there.
Yeah.
So to see y'all together
Yeah.
this past weekend was a trip.
Yeah.
It was like, wow.
And we got that a lot too with her family.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you mean? Explain.
They look so much alike.
Our laughs are alike.
Really?
look
There.
alike,
Yeah.
we talk alike.
Yeah.
Wow.
Serious.
And y'all
Yeah.
never grew up together.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Potentially
crazy.
twins, right?
No.
No, we're
And people
12
think
and a
so.
half
I'm saying
months.
potentially it could be considered
Yeah.
twins.
Everybody thinks they are.
Yeah,
You know.
I'm lighter. She's a little bit darker, but we
I'm gonna
joke
have to see
about
a photo
that
of this.
because
I'm pulling it up.
I told her I preheated the oven for her.
That's hilarious. That's it. Will is now seeing a picture and seeing how close
Look
they.
a lot alike.
Yep. Yep.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, because we were talking about the whole addiction thing and everything. I'm sure you were nervous about that too. Like, how much do I open up to this person?
Yes.
Yes, she's my sister, but let's be real. I don't know her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I was very nervous, but yeah, I've always grown up to not care what anybody think of me. You accept me for what I am,
Yeah,
who
no
I
doubt.
am.
No doubt.
Like, and I felt the very same with my sister, and me and her bump heads many times throughout these 6 years of having our relationship, because I have already relapsed during our relationship.
Right.
So we have bumped heads, but no, I mean, everything just, to me, God lined it perfectly, because she has a testimony of herself too, and I can't imagine both of our testimonies together during those hard times, we would have gotten into some trouble. And
Yeah.
losing our mom so young too, yeah, that's hard to accept. But at the same time, when I think about it, you know, of course, I now understand God pretty much saved my mom's life, because she was already struggling. And if, you know, I can't imagine life if I grew up with that around. I would have been right out there with my mama.
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, if we're being realistic, you know, it sucks that she died so young and you grew up without her, but what would life have been with her?
Exactly, yeah.
You know, it who knows? I mean, I hate to say it, but it might have been even more damaging.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Yes.
and you know, it's one of those situations where you don't want to point finger and blame,
Yes.
because our unfortunately our environment sometimes molds who we become. You know what I mean? I mean, to this day, you've heard me say it on this show before, I'm 45 years old and I still deal with daddy issues because of crap I went through when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the trauma, you know. And I mean, we know what we're talking about. I'm not going to put my aunt's business out there, but you know, she went through a lot, and I am thankful for your sister's parents for keeping her away from that. But yeah, it was a trip with y'all this weekend. That's an understatement. You guys were just so much alike, and so you look so much alike, and yeah, you definitely talk alike. I gotta say, it was fun though, because so you guys gotta understand, she was adopted by a white family. I don't say that disrespectfully at all.
you do.
No, I don't.
I'm kidding.
I don't say that disrespectfully at all. It's just the truth. She grew up with a you know, she was raised with a Caucasian family, Caucasian American family. So she don't know what it's like to be Mexican.
Well, she don't have the refried beans with every meal?
No, man. So when she came over here, boy, we Mexican her up right away.
We had a bunch of barbecue.
He fed the poor girl tripas.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. So we started off Saturday because Nikki came over to the house and she spent the night. They spent the night together, and so we woke up Saturday and we took Alyssa to the Mexican meat market here in town.
Ooh,
here in Seguin.
Okay, I was making sure you didn't take it to something.
No. So you talk about a culture shock for her.
We saw stuff hanging on the walls. And all
Yeah,
that
well,
stuff.
she walks in and it's just it's Mexican out, bro. That's all I can say.
Mexican music jamming.
Yeah, man. The real Mexican music, the tubas, and and so it was just so funny because we were in like the aisles and she's like, "What's this? And what's this? And what's this?" And we're like, "That's a concha. What's a concha?" Yeah.
She's like, "Are those sweet?" "Yes, sister. That's icing."
Yeah, that's what that is. And then we went to
Where was she raised at?
She was raised in Colorado.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can see that.
yeah. And so then we get to the aisle with the Mexican candies.
Oh my God.
She was in heaven.
Yeah, she took. Oh my God, I spent $40 on Mexican candy.
Wow.
She's like, "What's this?" And so I'm telling her. And then what was funny, I don't know if you caught this, but after we had made the purchase, she goes, "Which one should I try first?" And I go, "I don't know. Which one would you try?" I go, "I don't know. I don't eat that stuff."
Oh my God.
I don't eat that crap.
And she's like, "What? Why didn't you tell me?" I was like, "You didn't ask. You just asked what this was." So anyway, we get home and I bought chorizo.
Nice.
So I made chorizo and eggs. I got a pound of barbacoa, so she had that for breakfast. And we had stopped at the Mexican bakery, and we bought a bunch of
bread.
pan dulce for her, so she got to try maranitos, she got to try empanadas. And
So which one did you like the best?
I can't recall.
I think she really liked the empanada because she had the rest of the empanada the next morning.
Okay.
So she did, so she did have that. She
Her cafecito though.
No, she did. She did. She did. She did get a paleta,
What?
but she forgot it and left it here.
What kind of paleta is it? Where is it?
It's mango and it's in the freezer.
Nice.
That
It's
may be
gone,
gone in a
Alyssa.
minute.
Yeah, sorry, Alyssa, it's gone. No, I did text her today and tell her you forgot something, and I sent her a picture of it. She goes, "Can you mail it to me?" Like, yeah, no.
Belly.
No, what you need to do, I'll be honest with you.
What's that?
You need to go ahead and eat the ice cream,
Yeah.
get the stick,
And mail her the stick. Mail her the stick in the
the
wrapper.
wrapper. See how she can say
With a
she
picture
had
of us rubbing our tummy.
Right.
Yeah.
So check it out. There's more though. So Sunday was an awesome day. Sunday we got together and we went to her mom's gravesite. That was beautiful. It was sad. It was healing, definitely. And it was beautiful. And she said the reason why it was such a amazing experience for her was because, of course, she knew about your mom and how she passed away and everything. But this was the first time that she was that close to the actual person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Really?
she's at her mom's grave. Her mom's remains are there.
right there. Like,
That's the first time she's ever been
Really?
that close. Yeah. So she was.
has she ever been to Texas? Or
No,
ever been
this
to
was her
Texas?
first time.
Wow.
Yeah, this was her first
Well, that
time.
explains why.
Yeah. So it was a surreal moment, man. It was kind of weird because, like, for me, I'm the guy that's like, if I see you crying, I want to comfort you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they were sitting down, both Nikki and her, on their mom's grave, and they were both just crying. And I wanted to go and comfort them so bad, but I was like, no, this is them.
It's their moment.
That's
This is
sister
them.
moment.
This is
Yeah.
them. Yeah. So I didn't go near them. I just took pictures.
The reason,
Pictures of your pain.
yeah.
FaceTime.
And it was just very touching. Like, of course, I try to stay strong, but once
Yeah.
I saw the little sister break, I just broke.
Yeah.
But I told her to, these are happy tears, baby, as I'm holding her. Because I remember when I was 17, that was my first time that I can remember or recall attending my mom's gravesite, and keeping up with it, for myself. And I remember 17, I just, talked to the family again, and found out, it's kind of not, they're pretty much saying it's not worth looking, So I went to my mom's grave crying. and telling her I was sorry I couldn't find her, but that I did promise one day, I didn't care if it was the day till that I die, but that I did promise my mom one day I am going to find her and we're both going to come see you.
Nice.
So this past Sunday,
You completed your promise.
yes.
Wow.
And I'm not going to lie, that was also like a chain holding me down because
Wow.
a lot got lifted off my shoulders
I
Yeah.
can see that.
after that visitation.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of healing this weekend. A lot of healing.
So much. So many unanswered questions got answered. You know, so many lies that were floating around got brought to light.
Wow.
You know, it was very, very deep and
That's good though.
very
Oh, yeah, for
strengthening.
sure.
Yes,
For sure.
Yes.
For sure.
You got
I
to spend
was.
a relationship with your sister.
Oh,
create
yes.
that moment with her. Spend time here with her.
Yes.
I was very honored and blessed that I got to be a part of it, play a part of it. I mean, you guys don't understand. Melissa knows how awesome it felt to hear Alyssa say, "I didn't want to stay with anybody but you."
Wow.
You know, and she goes,
touching.
she told me, I told my mom if for some reason I couldn't stay with you, I was just going to stay in a hotel. You know, but I was like, no, you're always welcome here.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and so to be a part of that, and this was the thing that was awesome. It wasn't just healing for them; it was healing for me. You know, that was the first time I'd ever been. I don't know if I told you, but it was the first time I ever been to your mom's grave.
Oh, no,
Really?
you didn't.
Yeah, that was the first time.
Okay.
I never knew she was buried there.
Wow, that makes it more deep.
Yeah,
Is there a reason why?
I didn't know. Nobody told me.
So how old were you when her mom passed away?
What year was it?
91.
91. Oh, I was 16.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was 16. Well, you got to understand, I didn't grow up with the Trevino side of my family, right?
That's what I'm saying.
And at that age, I was still under my mom's custody, and I wasn't really allowed to see anybody, and I didn't know anybody from that side of my family. You know, when I first met my aunt, it was because she came to where I was at. I was playing at a revival, and they came to see me at the revival. You know, my mom wasn't happy about it.
Really?
When I told my mom, my parents, when I told my parents that they were there, they weren't happy about it. You know, so yeah, they're not going to say, oh yeah, go see your family. It was just one of those things. It wasn't until I turned 18 that I went looking for them, you know, and went to see my family. So it was definitely healing for me too, you know, and there was a lot of stuff that we learned as family that I won't share here on the air, but
Oh, come on, man. We don't know. Got my popcorn now, ready to cheat.
but I will say this, it showed us and reminded us the importance of family, and it definitely made us closer. And I'll say this, and I was just telling this to Melissa, it was so weird. Like, it was great seeing Alyssa. I hugged her, I gave her a big old bear hug, but I swear it felt like I just saw her the day before.
Yes.
It
And
was-
I get that
Because of-
same feeling.
Because of Nikki.
No, because see, remember, I went and saw her 4 years ago, but we hit it off so well. There was such a connection. We do have a lot in common because we both didn't grow up with the family. We both had questions. We both, like, there's just so much there. So we had a real strong connection. Nikki and I have a strong connection, which started from when she was very little, you know. So I have a connection with both the sisters, basically, and I see them as my sisters. And it was just weird because, like I said, when I saw Alyssa, it was like no time had passed. I had just got through seeing her.
There was zero awkwardness.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was just
took off from where.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, that night was awesome. We had a great dinner. We went outside and hung out, and we watched a movie together. And I don't know how late y'all stood up. I know it was. I know it was late though.
Chit chatting, talking.
Yeah, it was.
Nope.
It was awesome. It was great. It was great. Well, we need to take another break, and when we come back, we're gonna put a nice little bow on this thing, and we're gonna go and talk a little bit more about your addiction, but in the sense of, I want you to kind of talk to our listeners, and because you never know, there could be some listeners out there that are going through what you went through, and just kind of let them know that, you know, there is hope in Christ, you know. I mean, and just so, but we'll get more into that right after this second break.
Are you looking for your own custom shirt design? Maybe you have an idea for an awesome cap that no one else has, and maybe you think you just don't have enough money to get it to happen? Well, look no further. Call CJ Design. That's right, we're talking custom shirts, caps, stickers, and decals. High quality at the low price guarantee. Maybe you have a youth group, church function, family reunions, work events. Doesn't matter. Call CJ Design for your own specific high quality design merchandise. Call or text at 737-202-8331. That's 737-202-8331. CJ Design, and make sure you ask for Juan. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Rob T, from What's on My mind. Listen, we're about to start the podcast. Before we do, I just wanted to say a few words about our awesome sponsor, Metroflex Gym San Marcos. We've been pumping them like crazy on the show, and there's a reason for that. You see, it was a few years ago, it's probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I first stepped into Metroflex. I got to meet the owners, Daniel and Michelle Haggerty, and let me tell you something. Just them alone makes the very reason why I go to this gym. Back at that time, I was at my heaviest at 465 pounds. Yeah, pretty heavy, I know. Anyway, I walked into the gym. I talked to Daniel and told Daniel exactly what was going on with me at the time. I had some health issues and things like that. And he wasn't interested about, the money. He was interested more in me and my health. And I will never, ever forget that. So, it's for that reason alone that I still continue to go to Metroflex. This is about 6 years ago. Now, since then, I've had, fluctuations, of course, as we all do. But the one thing that I love is that these guys don't give up on me. They don't call me a quitter. They don't press me or anything, but they definitely motivate me. If you are looking for a gym that is going to look at you and care for you like family, I'm telling you, you've got to go to Metroflex Gym San Marcos. If you're in the San Marcos area, it could be Kyle, Buda, could be New Braunfels. You're not that far away. Metroflex Gym is really not that far away. Look, the address, it's really simple. It's 2101 Clovis Barker Road, San Marcos, Texas, 78666. That's Highway 123, like you're going to Seguin. It's not that far. Okay, look, if you want more information, look them up online, www.metroflexsanmarcos.com, or give them a call, 512-878-8575. Metroflex Gym. They care for you like family, but also it is the hardcore place to get back in shape. Don't forget, Metroflex Gym. Hey, are you a super fan of the What's on My Mind podcast? Are you ready to show it off? Well, now you can, because we've got official merchandise. You need a t-shirt so that your friends can know who you listen to? All you got to do is contact us, WOMMpodcast@gmail.com. We got shirts, we got cups, we got stickers, all for you. Contact us today. And we're back. So we're here on our final segment, and this segment is brought to you by Collector University and Professor J. So look him up. So here we go. No, I'm just kidding. That's my little joke for John. No, seriously, if you are interested in any kind of pop culture collectibles, it could be toys, it could be Funko Pops, comic books, Pokemon cards, you need to look into Collector University. He's got tons and tons of great inventory, some rarities as well. All you got to do is find him on your social media. Go to Facebook, Instagram, search Collector University. You can also look for him on eBay. That's where he does all his business. And just remember, whenever you order from Collector University, something extra comes with each and every order. Something extra. Yeah.
Christmas all year long.
Professor J will hook you up. So just make sure you go on your social medias, look them up, and hey, when you get in touch with them, let them know that us here at What's on My Mind sent you that way, and maybe he'll give you like an extra Star Wars Funko or something. I don't know. Something. So anyway, we're back with our third and final segment, and I am going in and out again. There we go.
It's not the microphone.
Apparently not. Right.
User error.
I'm not even moving right now. We're here with our third and final segment, and so what I wanted to do for this segment, Nikki, is I wanted you to take a little time and just share your heart. We could have, you never know. We have a lot of people that listen to this show, and all walks of life, all some Christian, some not Christian. It's all kind of people. So maybe somebody out there is going through the same type of stuff. Maybe it's addiction. Maybe they come from a broken family, or some of the stuff that you've gone through, and maybe what you've already said has kind of touched a nerve with them. So what would you say to them as far as dealing with their issues, with their pain, maybe even with their addiction? I mean, what kind of advice would you give to them that are going through that kind of thing, like what you went through?
I would say pretty much, because of course as an addict, we don't want to, how can I say it? It's hard to, ask for help, admit that we have a problem, etc. And I just want to say, like, to me, what I've learned in my life, the more negative that I go through or feel or anything, the more I have to turn to God, because, I just can't do it on my own. I can't, I don't know. You can't, your brain is going to be negative. That's how the enemy works. That's how, that's the number one thing that I struggled with. And as many times as I kept telling myself, just lose hope, because you just keep relapsing. There's no point of this. Why do you keep trying?
Just a cycle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And finally I had to get sick and tired of myself telling myself that, and prove to myself, no, you can do this. And, you are going to do this way. And, like, pretty much self-discipline had a lot to do with it. But, of course, like I said, it's an addiction. I wasn't only addicted to drugs and alcohol. I was addicted to men. I was addicted to codependency. I was addicted to using, my body to get what I wanted. I was used to making money the easy way and not out there busting my butt off. So, no matter how many times you relapse, because I've relapsed at least 5 times, do not lose hope, because trust me, God is going to grab you when you least expect it. I don't care if you got a needle in your arm right now. If you ask and test God to show him that, or to show you he's there, he's about to do it. Because that's exactly how I used to play with God. I used to always, if you're real, why am I going through this? If you're real, why am I going through that? And every time God showed me exactly why I was in the hole I was. And majority of the time, it's me getting myself into stuff that, was bad. But, at the same time, for example, domestic relationships. I'm trying to escape domestic violence, and literally I just saw this man lock my door physically, but by the time it was time to run out, that door was wide open. Wide open. Because I remember right away when I saw him locking it, I was like, hey, how am I going to hurry up and unlock these 3 locks and run out with a baby in my hand? How is this going to happen? In a fast second.
Yeah, split second.
And I didn't even have to open the door. The door was already open.
Wow.
I just had time to run out.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
And I really honestly believe that was God. There's been very dark situations where I was hanging out, like I said, I used to be in the gang industry, the violence, the drugs and all that. I wasn't claiming or nothing, but I used to have a lot of friends, that were in that industry. And I will say, just in that, it's helped me, how can I say it? Like, just help me with others, to push others, to want to help others, because I know exactly how it feels being that failure, being that one who nobody thinks is gonna make it, when I talk to friends, when I talk to family, when I talk to anybody who's known me in my past, they'll literally tell me, dang, girl, I thought you were locked up. And I'm like, no, I've been here for the past, years. Well, what have you been up to now? Well, I live for Christ. Right away, boom, shut off the conversation.
Gotta go.
Oh, okay, I gotta go,
Yeah. So you're not holding.
Yeah, right? And it's taught me a lot, just so much, because, you could sit there and show people you've changed. You could sit there and show people how it's done and literally be in front of their face. But as long as someone is not supportive of you and is not, positive in their own ways, it could really affect you because, they start, how can I say it? What I've learned is the enemy loves to use your closest loved ones to nick to you. And I've been through that my whole life. And I can honestly say I have more family that's not blood than blood.
Right.
That saying, blood's thicker than water. I always was grown the opposite.
Right.
Except
for me.
So, and honestly, like, with Christ, there's a different type of joy. There's a different type of motivation, determination, just everything. It's totally different with Christ because I remember and can recall doing everything on my own and I wasn't happy. I was depressed. I was anxiety up the roof, just horrible mentally, spiritually. But now with God and knowing there is hope that change can happen because I'm living proof of it, it's just a total different ball game. You don't feel alone. It's funny because I tell my friends, because they're always like, I still drink, but I keep relapsing, or I still cuss. And I'm like, I don't care. He takes you how you are. I was intoxicated when I turned my life to Christ.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just haven't touched it since. That was God delivering me from the narcotics. That's what it was. And it's just awesome. So, and of course I'm not perfect. No, I still sin daily, with the little things that I struggle with. But,
that's everybody,
it's
though.
a lot easier to handle life because instead of thinking of how I'm going to get revenge or just be mean to the person because they hurt me in the past or just be disrespectful, just pretty much be bitter. Now when the enemy wants to attack me mentally, I ponder and be like, okay, God, well, I thought I was over this, but obviously I'm not, so me and you about to have a conversation, so I pray on it instead. The pain, I just allow it to, I pretty much use it as a stepping stone, because, especially with my family and what we've gone through, now I know why I've been through everything I've been through, because when I have a child who's going through the same thing, I know exactly what to do. And that's exactly what I did.
I think that's where God's going to really open doors for you because, you can talk to people that are addicts. You can talk to people that are in the streets and stuff like that because you were there.
Yeah, I would literally have a car, but staying out at McDonald's parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was living that hotel to hotel life.
Yeah.
Just horrible.
Yeah. And I really think that with that testimony, and not just that testimony, but that boldness that you have, it's crazy. We talked a little bit about this past weekend too, how God will take what you've gone through, right, and use that for His glory.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you definitely went through some pain, and looking back on it, I'm sure there are times like you wish you didn't go through that. But in reality, though, the fact that you went through that, now God can use for His glory because now you can reach others before they go through that or while they're in it.
Yes.
Right? By telling them your story and what God has done for you. You know? Yeah, exactly. And that's the hope that we're talking about. That's the hope we're trying to give just with this little interview with you. You know, we're trying to show people that there is hope in Christ, right? Because you tried doing the rehab thing on your own.
Oh, I tried.
Yeah, and it didn't work.
Nope.
Yeah, but as soon as you gave your life to Christ and really meant it and like said, this is what I'm going to do, it's worked.
Oh,
you know,
yes,
and you
yes.
can tell the difference. You know, I told you this weekend, but I'm gonna fess up here on the air, where you and I had lost contact for a little while after, you know, you had already accepted Christ when we were talking and stuff like that, but then we didn't talk for a while.
Yeah.
And it was nothing bad. It's just life happens and we all go live our lives and do our separate things. But then I'd go on Instagram or something and I'd see her post something, right? And the language that she'd use or the way she said something would make me already like, oh man, don't tell me she's going back to, oh God. And I literally was like starting to doubt.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course. It makes you want to.
Yeah, you know, and I found myself doubting and thinking that she was already using again. And I told you that and everything. But when I saw her this weekend, it was like, no, she's still.
It was like, Rob, you tripping.
Yeah, basically. Basically.
Yeah.
But I shared this with her, but what really made the difference for me, what really showed me that she was
A1.
her kids. Because my heart swelled this weekend. We were at the cemetery and her little boy who's 12.
He's 8.
Gosh,
Man,
I am off.
No, I am so lost. He is 11.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I wasn't that off.
Aaliyah's
It's Aaliyah that's 8.
Yes.
So her
Wrong
little
child.
Hey, I do the same thing too.
so her little boy is 11 years old. Cute kid. Love him to death. Right? He's running around the cemetery and stuff, and he goes and he finds these flowers that are just laying there, not on any grave or anything. And he comes back and he goes, "Look what I found." I'm like, "Oh, cool." He goes, "I'm gonna put him on this grave over here because it doesn't have any flowers."
Oh, wow.
And just him saying that, man, my heart just swelled. You can't fake that.
No,
Yeah.
you can't.
You know, in all fairness, Nikki could fake it like crazy and put up a front and make me think that she's not using it, and then she could still be, but I know you're not. But I'm just saying, but when your kids see you every day,
Like that.
exactly. And that's when I was like, man, God's got this family, man, for real.
Yeah.
And that just really blessed me. I know it blessed Melissa. Melissa's got such a heart for kids, and she loves your kids. I'm telling you that right now. You know.
So let me know. I'll be drop all 3 of mine over here.
No, we're good. We're all right. Anyway, but yeah, so that's amazing, and I'm here to testify that God has definitely made an awesome change in your life, and I implore you out there listening right now, if you are in need, if you need prayer, maybe you're stuck in addiction, maybe you need help. Reach out to us.
Yeah.
You know, if you need somebody to talk to, maybe you want to talk to Nikki, reach out to us. I'll get her the message and she'll contact you. She'll send you an email, whatever the case may be, because I know her heart is to help others that have been through the same thing that she's been through. And that's really all we wanted to do here today, was to show you that there is still hope in Christ. And that doesn't matter your situation. I know today we focused on, you know, addiction and, you know, kind of like broken homes and stuff like that. But whatever your situation, there is hope in Christ, big time. Anybody want to add anything to that?
I just, I'm curious. So, you know, still talking about hope. Where do you go from here? You know, what are your hopes for, you know, moving forward? You know, what do you want for yourself now? You know, because I mean,
Yeah.
sobriety, of course, isn't the end of the road.
Oh, yeah,
You know, so there's
no.
so much more beyond that.
I've learned that my heart's being drug into prison ministry.
Ooh.
Nice.
Because I've done it in the past, and I just fell in love with it. I connected with all the inmates.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just where, because I'm a tough lover, and when I try and be that tough with, you know, just a random addict that I'm barely meeting, it's like, oh well, I don't want to do with her because, she's kind of...
She's too hard.
Yeah. But my thing when I, preach or anything, I always say, I tell, people too who come to me, I'm just very straight. I really believe you baby an addict, you bury the addict.
That's true.
Wow.
That's true, though.
So don't
attest
expect
to
me to baby you. No, you want to know the truth, I will be here to tell you the truth, but you may not like it.
And that's the kind of communication that needs to happen with
Yes.
addicts or really with anybody who
With
needs help.
anybody,
That's
because I suffer not only with addiction, but with depression, with, just anxiety. My anxiety was really, really bad, but when I literally gave my life to Christ, all that anxiety was caused from worry and stress. When I gave my life to Christ, the anxiety kind of went out the door too, because of course I gave my stress and worries to God. So it just helped me in all different ways, mentally, just every way. So yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, definitely.
I just like it. I mean, and the music, I keep talking to my cousin Rob about writing music because I want to write my story. That's what I want my music about, is what I've been through.
Okay.
And
She's a drummer.
Yes. And it's just, I don't know. And then my kids, they're the same way. I guarantee if I was to have like a whole Selena set at home, we would be having our own band.
I have it in my house.
Yeah, literally.
You have your own Selena band.
Yeah, my son wants to learn the drums, and my daughter, she's in orchestra who plays the viola, and it's just, they're all singers. I'm a singer.
Yeah.
So it's just, really cool to see. And just to also, the main thing is to show my kids, because my kids were also fed a lot of lies as well as myself. And I was able to show them those lies weren't true. Look at mommy. This is what's really happening. Because you look back on those people who said those lies, their life hasn't changed one bit.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Great point.
And God, that's one person I tried to trick and fool all the time. No, Lord, I'm not using. How the heck are you going to hide that from God? I'm not drunk. I'm not drinking and driving. Just common sense. And now it's just totally different.
Yeah. Definitely. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I was excited to have you.
Yes,
and definitely to share this story. We'll have to bring you back on again at some point, for sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
I appreciate it.
Especially because I got ideas going through my head. I'll talk to you about all that later.
Come on.
But anyway, so the big, like I said at the beginning of the show, the big thing these past few episodes, but we just want you guys to know that there's hope. 2021 hasn't started out all that great either. I know there's a lot of anxiety out there in the world right now, in our country, and a lot of division and everything, but I'm telling you, there is hope in Christ. If hope can bring together or put back together a broken person, as you heard today, he can definitely put back together a broken nation.
Oh, yes. Come on.
All we got to do is be willing to let him do the work in us. So, but
And
anyway,
want it.
exactly, and want it. So, before we call it closed, my wonderful co-host, do y'all have anything y'all want to wrap things up with, Melissa?
No, I've said everything I need to say. I just really wanted to know the next steps and really get the last part of that hope. So it's awesome that you're moving forward and you have, how you want to help others. That's,
yes. There's
I commend you
always
for that. That's awesome.
So many things running through my head. I have to tell Jesus, calm me down, Lord.
Yeah.
I want to
Don't make
help
a way.
everybody, the homeless, domestic violence survivors, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
He'll open the doors for you.
Yes.
That's awesome. Will?
Ditto. No, taking off of hope and kind of turning it back to a different direction is we have to realize there's always hope. No matter where you're at, no matter when the situation gets dark, there's always hope for tomorrow. No matter what you see, what you feel, what you hear. I can honestly tell you, these last 60 days have literally been hell on earth. I'm still here.
Yeah.
And there's hope. I have a good friend of mine who has to consistently remind me that there is hope in tomorrow. And I'm gonna share this to everybody. Nobody really knows this. Like only the one person that I've told. And my current situation I'm dealing with right now, I will not disclose. But the current situation I'm dealing with right now is.
Can you give him your mic?
Yeah.
Is it going in
You're
and
not
out?
coming through at all.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Verizon. No. So which I catch nothing.
No, it caught in and out what you were saying, but you talked about the situation you're in now. That's the part I didn't catch.
All right, so the situation I'm in now, it took a big toll on me, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And for those who know, I've struggled with a lot of things in my life, especially the last few years. And yesterday, going through what I was going through, what I'm going through now. Yesterday was literally, I was at the point of just saying, okay, I'm done with it all. I was like literally about to just turn it off.
Yeah.
Forever.
Throw in the towel.
And it's a really good friend of mine. I was talking to him earlier today, and they kept reminding me that you don't have. It's not that way. Keep focusing, keep trusting, keep finding. There's hope for tomorrow, even though you don't feel like it. There's still hope for tomorrow. There's still hope for tomorrow. There's still hope for tomorrow. And they're like, Big, don't do this. Big, don't do this. I'm like, I think I'm gonna do it today. I think I'm gonna do it today. I think I'm gonna do it today. I am tired. I'm done. I'm defeated. And I'm like, I feel like I'm just gonna throw in the towel, just give up, and just say bye. And I wouldn't be here today if I would have did that.
Yeah.
And there's hope. And this person told me there's hope for tomorrow. Sent me a bunch of scriptures, and they even sent me a bunch of videos, and they was like, look, man, like there's hope for tomorrow. I know I'm one of the worst persons to tell you this today, because you're going to have to tell me this tomorrow. That's what they told me. I was like, yeah, you're true. That's very true. But then the realization is no matter what you're going through, there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I've learned these last few days. And just today, going through what I've gone through today, that I saw the light. I wouldn't have saw the light if I would have completed the action I was thinking of completing. But I can honestly say is, I feel better now. But there's hope. Who cares about politics? Who cares about your job? Who cares about your economy and your family? Who cares about things? Just do what I do. Bare necessity. Live through what you need and go from there. Live through what you have and go from there. Because hope is better tomorrow than it is today. That's all I got.
Awesome. All right, well, that is it for the week. I want to give you guys a quick rundown of what we're going to have next week. So next week's guest, we are going to have Roger Garza. Now, Roger Garza is a good friend of ours, good friend of the show's. He actually is the head of Blue Orchid Design Company. They're actually the ones that put together our logo, as you guys see on all of our social medias and everything else. So we're going to have him on the show because he just started a new podcast called oh gosh, I always forget it. The Dude podcast, but it's like the normal or regular Dude. Sorry, Roger, I apologize for that. But we're gonna have him on the show to talk about his latest project, which is his podcast. He's also the lead singer of Becoming Sons. But what we're gonna focus on with this podcast is his podcast, and I was a guest on it for the first show. And if you haven't heard it yet, you got to go check it out. It was actually a lot of fun, and we talked about an interesting topic, which was marriage. He called the episode "Why Did I Get Married?" But honestly, the subject matter we talked a lot about was honestly marriage and sex in marriage. So you got to go check it out. But again, thank you guys. Thank you again, Nikki, for being here. We really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for joining us on the What's on My Mind podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can also find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon, iHeartRadio, or any of your other favorite podcast platforms. Check out our official Facebook page at facebook.com/WOM podcast. That's facebook.com/WOMM podcast. Also follow us on Instagram and Twitter
together. And you can email us at whompodcast@gmail.com with questions and comments. You can reach us at that email too if you want to reach out to Nikki. Maybe you're going through something as well and you'd like to share it with her. Please email us at whompodcast@gmail.com. So until next time, this has been Rob T.
Who's going next? Melissa?
Hey, well.
And you've been listening to What's on My Mind.